Hello there, Aries. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly tarot in-depth video forecast. This forecast is for the month of June. And I am breaking this down into two different sections. So we're going to be looking at June the 1st through June the 14th, and then later on I'll come back and we'll look at the 15th through the rest of June. So for the 1st through the 14th, what we have showing up first for you looks at your environment. Now your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. Usually that's going to be home, but it doesn't have to be. So you want to be kind of open-minded about where this might be for you. So what we have going on with the environment is it looks like there's not a whole lot of responsibilities that you're having to handle about the environment whenever we see you during this first part of June. So maybe this is that you're going on vacation, or maybe this is that you're renting a place or leasing a place and something's going on, but you don't have to be responsible for it. Somebody else is responsible for the responsibilities in the environment. Next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about your subconscious leanings, and what I'm hearing is you are very relaxed right now, and I think that even in your subconscious you're looking at new ways that you can relax, new ways. Some of you may be dealing with some kind of stress, some of you may be going on vacation, but just looking for ways to relax is what we have showing up in your subconscious during this time frame. Next thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about two different things. First of all, your learning style, and secondly, your communication style. I do feel like you're picking up a lot of information during this time frame, very much intuitively. There's a lot of things around you where maybe all the facts aren't exactly in yet, and so you're paying attention to what your intuition is telling you on those situations. And then as far as your communication style, I do think there's a lot of communication going on right now. And I think that a lot of this communication that's happening does have to do with emotions or feelings. Okay. Next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about work for you. And so this is going to be how you're feeling productive in the community, whether you're getting paid for this or whether it's something that you just do because it makes you feel, like I said, productive in the community. So as far as work, it looks like things are moving forward kind of the same as they were. So what I heard as I picked up this card is ho-hum, like no news is good news kind of things. Things are just moving forward as they were. For those of you who are looking for a job, this would be that, you know, you're still looking for a job during this time frame. You're in that routine. You've got, you know, everything is going within the flow that it has been going in. There's not a whole lot of changes that show up whenever we're looking at work. For those of you who are not looking for a job and who don't work for somebody who pays you a paycheck, this could be, you know, working around the home or, you know, whatever your normal routine is that just is keeping on going. All right, so next thing that we're looking at does talk to me about that part of your personality which is growing or expanding right now, Aries. It does look like that you have the opportunity to pick up with some things that you had sort of put on the back burner in the past and move forward with them. And I feel like right now you're choosing not to pick up things from the past and move forward. You're trying really hard to stay present in the moment and stay focused on the moment rather than go back to the past and try to pick that up and thread that into the present. Next thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about those things that you stand for. So we're going to look at something that you're standing up for or you're explaining. Somebody has challenged you on this, and then we're going to look at how that challenger, whoever this is has challenged you on this, how they feel about you in this situation after you guys have had your communication about it. So it looks like you do have a situation where you've been dealing with some kind of temptation or obsession, and it looks to me like you're trying to be responsible in how you deal with it, and somebody may be, you know, confronting you and saying, do you really think that's responsible? Or somebody may be coming to you and saying, you know, they may be adding to that temptation or trying to pull you back to this obsession, whatever this is. Now, how the other person feels after you've had a conversation with them is they feel like you're basically taking a break. They don't feel like you're, they feel like, you're definitely doing something about this temptation or this obsession. In some cases, a temptation obsession that could be an addiction, doesn't have to be, but could be. But they feel like you're taking a break from it. They don't feel like you're gone forever. They don't feel like you're done with it forever. They just feel like, well, this person is seriously taking a break from this, whatever this temptation or obsession is. Okay. I feel like this person also is going to be coming back around to sort of check the waters, test the waters, and see if you've changed your mind yet or not. Okay. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so the next thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about the lesson or the experience of this time frame. And what we have is, I really think you're coming into a situation where you're going to be saying some things kind of off the cuff, and I think later on you're going to wish that you had not said those things. So the advice here is, be really careful as you're speaking. Try to make sure that you're sort of using that filter before you let the words go out, so that later on you don't end up kicking yourself in the rear for something that comes out of your mouth that later on you just wish wouldn't have. Okay, so basically respond, not react. Don't give that knee-jerk reaction. Think about what you're going to say back, or think about what you're going to say in a situation and respond to it. Don't react to it. All right, at the same time that we have this energy showing up where you're going to be saying something that you may regret later, which, by the way, you have free will. You can change this. That's the beauty of getting one of these readings ahead of time, is that if you see something you don't like, you can fix it. But about the same time that that's happening, I think that you're starting to feel, and I think part of this is realizing that you kind of wish you wouldn't have said what you did. You're starting to feel a little bit dejected about something, and like you don't want to move forward with it, where before you thought you did want to move forward with it. Some of that has to do a little bit with the embarrassment of the idea that you said something that now you wish you wouldn't have. And it looks to me like you're taking some time to really hang out with yourself and taking some time to set some priorities and really examine, okay, where do I want to go from here? What needs to be my next step? And as you're taking that time, the next thing that we see showing up is that you're letting yourself off the hook. You're forgiving yourself for making a mistake. Everybody makes them. Everybody makes them. But there's no reason to hold that against yourself for forever. May as well let yourself off the hook so that you can go on and continue to be in the present and not be pulling that past back in again. Stay in the present. Okay? So that's what we have for the 1st through the 14th. When I come back, we'll look at the 15th through the rest of the month. See you soon, and thank you for being here. Thank you for being here again, Aries. Right now, what we're going to be looking at is June the 15th through the 30th. To see what kind of energies come up for that time frame for you. Okie dokie. What we have showing up for your environment, June the 15th through the 30th, is a card that talks about that you're really enjoying. You're finding some happiness. You're finding a lot of potential for happiness even in your environment. So I don't know, did you move? Did you upgrade your environment? Do you just naturally live in a place that has, all of this wonderfulness all around inside of it, but your environment is showing up as something that you're really enjoying? Next thing that I'm looking at for your subconscious leanings, it talks about that you have a routine, you have a schedule, you have something that you want to continue forward, and you're working out, well, how do I do that? So this sort of implies that there are some changes going on in your life and you're wanting to keep a routine anyway, and so really looking for the best way to maintain that old routine even with the new changes that are around. Next thing that I'm showing for you, Aries, talks to me about your learning style and also your communication style. I do feel like there is one particular thing that you are really fired up about finding out more about, and I think you're putting some energy and effort into that, and you're picking up that information quickly. As far as communication style, I do think you're being a little bit standoffish. You may be not feeling so much like talking to people right now. It sort of comes to me that you may be feeling like, I don't know, like licking your wounds. There's just something that has happened that has you in this place of, you know what, I just want to do some healing before I'm really talking to a bunch of people. I feel a little bit more like being isolated, which is very unlike your personality, Aries. So this is just telling me that there's something dramatic that you've been through, and now you're just kind of ready to sort of take the social life a little bit more slowly and take some time to really set some priorities for yourself and get to know yourself a little better. Now, next thing that we have showing up talks to me about work. And it looks like where work has been a fight or has been a struggle for a while, I think that you are coming into peace with something that's been going on at work. You may actually be literally in some type of peacemaker situation at work. So you could be a go-between between two parties who are not getting along very well at work, trying to get everybody on the same page and find, well, what can we actually agree on? Okay. Next thing that I'm looking at here talks to me about um, that part of your personality, which is growing or expanding as you go through this time frame. It does look to me like you're coming out of about halfway through this time frame. I would say you're coming out of that sense of wanting to be isolated or needing to be isolated, and you're coming around to be more social with other people and not as grumpy and as standoffish as you may have been. I'm not sure if my dog is sneezing or what. Not my dog. I'm dog sitting. Anyway, if you're hearing that noise, that's the dog. La da da. Next thing that we're looking at, Aries, does talk to me about those things that you stand for. And like I said last time, this is going to be something that somebody has challenged you on. They may have asked you to explain it. They may have confronted you about it. And we're going to look at how that challenging person feels after you've had this conversation or confrontation, however it happens to work out for you. So it looks to me like there's something going on where you haven't been feeling like your normal self. You've been feeling a little bit blue and a little bit less optimistic than your normal self. And it looks to me like after you explain this, you okay? Are you okay? Sorry about that, guys. But it does look to me like after you explain yourself to this other person, they're seeing you as somebody who is on a comeback, that you're recovering from something that could have potentially been devastating, but instead of letting it be devastating, you're coming back from that. And so, yeah, so we like that. We like it that you're bouncing back, that you're making a comeback. Next thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about the lesson or experience that you have as you're going through this time frame. I do think you're doing a lot of research. You're definitely digging for information of one kind or another. Now, this can be doing research online. This can be talking to experts. This can be checking your significant other's cell phone or email or whatever. This can be my stalker card, but you are digging for information. It feels a lot more to me like you're looking for information that's going to benefit you and possibly also others as well. It doesn't feel as personal as sometimes this card feels. Sometimes this can really feel like out and out stalking. Doesn't feel so much like stalking as much as it feels like information. Really? Really, Mabel? All right, so who's that man behind the curtain? You guys remember The Wizard of Oz? Okay, so the next thing that we're looking at here talks to me about something that's going on at the same time that you're digging for research. Looks to me like there is something that you're still stressing out about quite a bit as you're looking for this research. And then at the same time, we have you starting something new. And this is something that maybe you did before, but you got away from. Now you're starting it back. This is pretty specific, but I do have to say, for some of you, I feel like you're starting something new having to do with health improvements. So I feel like this is for those, whether it's health improvements or whether it's something else, this something new that you're starting is not unfamiliar to you. I think you've done it before. You're just bringing it out of mothballs and pursuing this again. Okay, and then once we get to the end of the month, Aries, where we see you is really taking some serious action against some kind of obsession or temptation. We saw this obsession or temptation show up in the last spread where somebody was confronting you about it. Here what we're seeing is we're seeing you really knock that out and not let that impact or affect you as much as it has been. So I'm really happy to see that showing up at the end of the month there. Okay, so that's what I've got for you, Aries. Thank you very much for being here. Everybody have a fantastic month, and if I don't see you here for a private reading between now and then, I'll see you on the next video. Peace out.